This is a simple, quick way to show you how to change the shock oil that is in your Traxxas shocks. This video will work with the Slash, the Stampede, the Rustler, and the Bandit. Now every shock will be held in only with 2 screws, one at the top and one at the bottom. And no matter where they are, they're fairly easy to take off. So, remove those 2 screws, set them aside, and get your shock off. Now that you have your shock off, there's a few things that you're going to need. First of all, you are going to need silicone oil to refill the shock. Now there's different kind of silicone oils out there for your RC shocks. They differ in kind of weight, which give you different kind of performance. However, for today I'm just going to use Traxxas basic silicone oil. You're probably going to need needle nose and a hex screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver, and I'll show you the reason why you need that in a little bit. Now to begin, we're going to go ahead and take off this lower brace for the spring. So you just collapse it, pull out that part, and then this can now slide off. Take off the spring and the top brace for the spring, set those aside. Now you want to go ahead and unscrew the top. Now in a lot of situations this will not come off very easily. This is why you would need the needle nose and the screwdriver. As long as it can fit in that hole, then all you can do is twist it. Whoa! But believe me, it'll make the job a lot easier. Once you got it loose, all you have to do is unscrew it. It should pop right out. Now, you got to be very wary of this top rubber piece. That's known as the bladder. If you lose that, then you're in a lot of trouble. Believe me. You need that to keep a tight seal. So, you can dump this straight into a trash can. I'm just going to use this little plastic case. As you can see, this really did need to be changed. Now, a lot of people are wondering, how often should you change your shock oil? Well, it varies, but if you're racing all the time, I would say at least twice a year, and you should be good. If you don't run it that often, then once a year should do just fine. But you want to go ahead and pump that out as much as you possibly can. Alright. Now, for the bladder, you're going to want to head and get a paper towel and wipe this off. Once the bladder is clean, you can go ahead and set that aside. Push the piston all the way up and get the rest of the silicone oil off. Now if you want to, you can be a little fancy and stuff some paper towel in there and get more of the oil out. Really just depends on how dirty the oil was, and as you can see, this one was pretty dirty. But yeah. Now, filling it back up. What you're going to want to do is push the piston at least halfway in. Open up your silicone oil and start pouring. Now what you're going to want to do is only fill it up halfway. Once it's filled up halfway, you're going to want to slowly push it up and down. And you're just going to do this a couple of times. What this does is that it gets all the air bubbles out from the bottom of the shock. Once you move it a couple of times, fill it up some more. There we go. Once you don't see any more bubbles coming up, then you should be good. Then you can go ahead and fill it up pretty much all the way. The higher the better. Once it's at the top, just like that, then you are good to go. Now, to install the cap back on, there's a couple of methods. You can go ahead and lay the bladder on top and then screw it on, or you can put the bladder inside and then screw it on. It doesn't matter which way you do it. A lot of people prefer to have the bladder put back into the shock cap before they install it. Just makes it easier. Alright. Go ahead and tighten it on there. If there's oil that's coming out a little bit, don't worry, that's good. You really don't want any air inside your shocks. Tighten that up, hold it steady, use that screwdriver, And you don't want to over tighten it, otherwise it will pop off or strip. Now you can see there's a little bit of oil coming out, and that's not a problem. And that, yes, you'll notice a big improvement over oil like this. Ugh. But now that that's done, all I have to do is put the top brace back on, slide the spring back, the bottom brace on, go ahead and reinstall it, and that is all. Now, like I said, just do this twice a year, every 6 months, and you should be good to go. The shock that I used is the standard shock that comes stock with every RC that Traxxas pretty much releases. When you upgrade, if you ever want to big bore shocks, it's the same exact process. In fact, they're pretty much the same exact size. The only difference is that one is built with aluminum parts and the other one's just plastic. But yeah, big bores are exactly the same way. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll answer what I know. Other than that, that's all I have to show you.